Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Bianca Janel. I make videos on lifestyle, and today is part 2 on what's on my winter TBR. So part 1, I'll link right here for you guys. I did the physical books that are on my TBR. Now these are the books that are on my Kindle, and I have a lot to get through. As soon as it hits the holidays, I just see holiday books and I just start downloading them to my Kindle, and I don't even think about it. So these are all the books that I have on my Kindle for my winter TBR. So like I said in the intro, this is part 2 of what is on my winter TBR. And to be honest, my winter TBR is just holiday, Christmas, romance, cheesy types of books. Those are my favorite types of books. If you didn't get that from the first part of this video, then in the second part you'll realize just how much I love a cheesy, Hallmarkish Christmas love story. It's my favorite thing. It's what's been getting me through this holiday season. We're already on the last week of November, and I have read about 8 books. Now, majority of them are Christmas novellas, which are short stories, so I was able to get through those really quick. But it's just what I love. And actually, I'm coming to realize, like, I actually like novellas, which are short stories, because, like, to me, yes, a lot of the Christmas romance books, I'll be honest, are in the same realm. Like, I get it, like, they're cheesy and they're nonsense. So it being a short story is like, it's just like, it's good for the soul. I can get through it usually in a night. So that's what's been on my winter TBR. And I actually have been flying through a lot of books on my Kindle. So some books I'll share with you that I read. I'm not really going to give a review. I'm just going to let you know if I read them or not, and like a quick whether or not I think you should read it. I'll do a separate video where I'll go ahead and go over all the books that I actually read in November. But this is what I've read so far and what's on my TBR on my Kindle. So currently what I'm reading, actually, which I do actually have the physical copy too, but I downloaded it to my Kindle. Side note before we get into the video, I have Kindle Unlimited, and I use the Libby app for downloading books onto my Kindle. Every once in a while I will buy a book if I feel like I really want it. The majority of the time I have books that are from Kindle Unlimited, which is a subscription from Amazon. I think it's $12 a month, which to me that is worth it, because there's just so many good books on there. Not even just holiday, I mean, there's actually a lot of holiday books on there. But they even come out with, like, Fourth Wing just came on there. They have Harry Potter, they have Lord of the Rings. Like, they have a lot of big book series on Kindle Unlimited, and to me a subscription just makes sense, because if I justify it in my head too, a book is more than $12 typically, and if I'm not buying books, then I'm downloading books. So to me, it kind of evens out anyways. I actually think if you have a Kindle, you definitely need Kindle Unlimited. And then I also have the Libby app, which is the library app. So what you do is you go online, or I'm not even sure if you can do it through the app. You download the app, Libby, and you attach your actual library card to it. So my library card is attached to it, and then I'll just go ahead and download books as I want from there. So that's how I get a mixture of books onto my Kindle. So now let's go ahead and get into what's actually on my Kindle. So I'll start with the first book, which actually was a physical book that I shared in my last video, but I did go ahead and download it onto my Kindle. At night, it is just so much easier for me to read my Kindle, especially in bed. I feel like with a book, I'm always dropping the book on me, and then I have to use like a night light or something with it, which I don't typically mind, but to me, when I have the Kindle, I like fly through books. So typically during the day, if you catch me reading, I'm usually reading a physical book, and then in the evening I like to read on my Kindle. So sometimes I'll switch between having the physical book and putting it on my Kindle. So the very first book that I have on my list and what I'm currently reading is One Day in December by Josie Silver. And in last video I said I was going to wait till December, and I just couldn't. I saw that it came up on my Libby app, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and start it. And so far I'm really into it. I'm about 20% through. and I am just soaking it up. So a little bit about this book. It says 2 people, 10 chances. What unforgettable love story. Lori is pretty sure love at first sight doesn't exist anywhere but the movies. But then through a mist up bus window, one snowy December day, she sees a man who she instantly knows is the one. Their eyes meet, there's a moment of pure magic, and then the bus drives away. So Lori spends a year looking for him all throughout London in cafes, every bus stop, but she doesn't find him until one day her best friend Sarah introduces her to her new boyfriend Jack, which is the one she swears she is fated to be with. And that's pretty much all that's really happened in the book up until this point, is that she has met Jack, which is her best friend's boyfriend, and now we're getting into the story. So it took a little bit for it to like build up, but I have been soaking it up because it takes place in London. It gives you all the feels, but it goes throughout the year, so you're not just getting the holiday season, you're kind of getting throughout the year, and you're experiencing what she's feeling throughout this whole time of realizing that it's her best friend's boyfriend. So what could she do about that? And I am just loving it. I really am a big fan of Josie Silver, and I've just been loving this book. So that is what I am currently reading right now. The next book I have on my TBR is Booked for the Holidays by Jessie Curto. It says, it's not a winter wonderland, but the holidays are always special in a small town, Park Cove, Florida. This year has the chance to be even more memorable when a big-time magazine offers an incentive of $100,000 for the most festive, best decorated store on the busy local avenue. Bookstore owner Bridget is eager for the jolly task. The gleam of a potentially very Merry Christmas fades quickly, though, when she finds out that they have paired her with the grumpy next door shop neighbor Theo for the competition. Like a whole like enemies to lovers Christmas time, decorating for Christmas time. I am so excited to read this, and this actually has a really good review. It has 4 stars on Goodreads and 4.2 stars out of 5 on Amazon. That's actually pretty good for our Christmas book, so I'm really excited to get into it. The cover is so cute. I'm actually putting the cover as we talk right here as well for you guys, because I'm sure it's kind of hard to see on my Kindle. I saw this on someone else's TBR and I instantly downloaded it to my Kindle. I'm very excited for this book. The next book that was on my TBR that I finished is Mary Kate Andrews' Holiday Hideaway. It is a short story. I read this book in one night, and this is actually one of my favorite short stories so far that I have read this season. It is so cute. It's about this woman named Tilly. She's just going through a hard time in her life. She ends up squatting in one of her agency's properties, and then of course, because she's squatting in there, who ends up showing up? The owner, and somehow they end up coming face to face, and their story is just so cute. For it being a short story, I got really involved into it, and it was very descriptive. You felt like you were there with them. And this is the first book I've ever read by Mary Kate Andrews. I actually have 2 more of her books on my winter TBR that I talked about in the last video, and now I'm just extra excited to read it. So if you want to get into the festive mood, get into the Christmas spirit, this is a really good short story to start with. Another book that I have on my winter TBR is My December Darling by Lauren Asher. I just kept seeing this book pop up and I thought it sounded really cute. It says, you have Catalina. Playing the part of my sister's maid of honor is easy, even if she's marrying my ex. But playing nice with the best man, an impossible task given our history. Sure, Luke might be kind, incredibly handsome, and stubborn to a fault. But regardless of how hard he tries to make me see otherwise, I am not interested. It's on me to remind him that he's my ex-boyfriend's best friend and the one I'm secretly starting to wish I met first. Yeah, just everything about it. You have the Christmas, you have a wedding, you have maid of honor. Like, I love that whole storyline. I'm excited to get into this one. A book that I had on my winter TBR was Santa's Coming by Serena Pierre. I just finished it this week. Actually, the author commented on one of my TikToks referring her book, and so I was like, oh, let me check it out. I saw that it was a short story, so I was like, okay, let me try it and see how this is. It is so cute and it is very steamy. She has another book out. I think she has like a standalone connected series, and so the second one's like, I think, called Cupid's Shot, so I definitely want to read that one next. And then she has another one coming out. I think that's like a St. Patrick's Day kind of thing going on. But this was a great introduction into her line of work. I actually really enjoyed it. You have the single mother trope with just like the Labrador type of boyfriend man, just very cute, wrapped up with Christmas, steamy. It was like the perfect Christmas steamy novel to get into, and it gave you all of the festive feelings as well. I thought it was really cute, and I definitely recommend. Now, one of my favorite Christmas books ever is this book right here. It's How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. You have Christmas, you have steamy, you have forced proximity, you have childhood friends, you have a Christmas town. I mean, do I need to say anything else? All of that wrapped up into one book, and I love this. This is actually one of my favorite books of the year too, because I am a Christmas girly. Of course, it's like one of my favorite romances. It was just so silly and fun to read along with, and I just soaked it up. It's actually kind of a long book, but I just didn't mind it. I just wanted to keep reading the romance story between the two, and it was just so cute. A little bit about this book. It says every Kringle in Kringletown celebrated Christmas a lot, but Coal Black on Worcester Lane unfortunately did not. As his fellow citizens decorate their quaint town brimming with carols and glad tidings, Cole wants nothing more than to hibernate the winter away. But his dreary plans are thwarted when Christmas nemesis Story Taylor moves in next door to care for her Aunt Cindy. Immediately, the neighbor turns his life into a real nightmare before Christmas, especially when she decides to enter the town Christmas Kringle contest and honor Cindy. And better yet, Story is determined to win. It's such a cute. If I can recommend any book in this TBR, it's this one. It just gets you into the Christmas mood. I actually think I read this first or second week of November, and I just felt like my Christmas had started. It is such a cute storyline. I can't stop saying cute, but that's really how this book should just be wrapped up. Cute / steamy. They go hand in hand with this book during Christmas time. Such a good read. A series that I had on my winter TBR was Under the Mistletoe series. So Amazon Originals came out with a Christmas series of short stories. You had writers like Ali Hazelwood and Tessa Bailey in here, and I have to say I liked about half the books. So there are 5 books in there. I do say the series is worth reading. You don't have to read all of them. You can pick and choose which ones sound good to you. I just wanted to read all of them so I could review them. I'm gonna do a separate video on that. They weren't as Christmassy as I would have hoped for. Like, Amazon Originals came out with a series during Valentine's Day, which were obviously like love stories, and I loved that whole series. This one, I could kind of say you could skip. Are they worth reading? I mean, sure, but I would have been okay not reading them too. So maybe that should say what my review is. Like, I would have been okay not reading them. And like I said, they didn't get me into the festive mood. I'm gonna leave it at that because I will save my review for the next video, but I did finish the whole series. Next book that I have on my TBR is Meet Me Under the Mistletoe, and actually I am switching between reading this and listening to it to on audiobook. I love listening to books on audiobook. A lot of the times, I think about half the books that I read this year, I will go ahead and switch between the audiobook, my Kindle, and just having the physical copy, because it just depends on how I want to consume it. And sometimes I like listening to it on Audible too, just because that way I can kind of get the voices. If I do enjoy the version on Audible, I like to get the voices, that way as I'm reading it I can just kind of picture it more, and I have been enjoying it. I love Jenny Bayless. Jenny Bayless wrote my favorite Christmas book last year, which was The 12 Days of Christmas. I mentioned it in the last video, and I actually reread it and listened to it on audiobook this past year, and I just loved it. And so I wanted to get a couple more of her books in this year. So the next one we have is Maybe Under the Mistletoe. I think I'm only about like 20% through. So it says, Eleanor Noel, Nori for short, is quite content running her secondhand bookshop in London. Forever torn between her working class upbringing and her classmates' extravagant lifestyles at the posh private school she attended on scholarship, Nori has finally figured out how to keep both at equal distance. So when 2 of her oldest friends invite their whole gang to spend the time leading up to their wedding together at the castle near their old school, Nori must prepare herself for an emotionally complicated few days. And there are a lot of emotions in this book. This book's a little bit more heavier. I'm not going to say too much about it just yet. I am enjoying it. Again, this just takes place during the holiday season in a castle near London. I love all that. As you can see, I'm listening to a book about London on audiobook and reading it, and I'm also reading One Day in December, which takes place in London. I love that. And 12 Dates of Christmas that I read last year had taken place in London too. No, it didn't take place in London. It took place somewhere in England. I think Cotswold, I think. Regardless, clearly I love that type of storyline just because I like the descriptions about the place and the location. Actually, we're hoping to go to London next year for Christmas, so it's getting me more excited. And I just love Jenny Bayless's writing. I get very involved into her stories, and so far I'm really enjoying this one. Next book on my TBR is 'Tis the Season for Revenge by Morgan Elizabeth. I did see this book on a couple of people's TBR, and I had put up a TikTok about books that I wanted to read, and someone recommended this book as well. It says, Abby Keller thought that Richard Benson III would be her forever. In their 4 years of dating, she never doubted that she wouldn't end up with his grandmother's engagement ring on her finger. Sure, she had to change a few things about herself to fit that mold, like dyeing her hair, dressing more conservatively, and finding golf enjoyable. Honestly, the most difficult challenge of them all. But she was sure that at the end of it, it would all be worth it. That is, until he leaves her crying outside her apartment wearing a Halloween costume, having broken it off with her because she's just not serious enough. She was fun, he tells her, and now that Richard has becoming a partner in his law firm, in his sights, he needs to focus on work. I think I saw someone kind of describe this as like a Mean Girls type of trope as well, so I think obviously she's getting revenge on him for breaking her heart. And I like that. I haven't read a book like that in a while where someone's just trying to get revenge. And I just enjoy that. And if you're going to tell me this is wrapped up with Christmas, revenge and Christmas, those should go hand in hand. So I'm excited to get into this one. Next book I have on my TBR is Christmas Baggage. It's a Christmas escape novel by Deborah Hathaway. So it says, if there's one thing she's learned in England, it's that not all Englishmen are created equal, because this guy was turning out to be the real pill. Tired of spending her holidays throwing up on cruises with her parents and, you know, being dumped by ex-boyfriends, Claire Frost is determined to change her luck this Christmas. Taking time off from her flower shop, she follows her friend to London, ready to enjoy all things England. And boy does she. The frost-covered flowers, the frozen green hills, the bright red telephone boxes, the festive Christmas markets, also the men. Definitely the men. What can I say? It's a Christmas book that takes place in England. That's all I needed to know. Like, again, I tell you, I'm really that easy. Yeah, I don't even need to describe any more about it. That's the only reason why I put this on my Kindle, and I am actually really looking forward to getting into this one. I think there are about like 8 different books in this series, and I think they take place in different locations, so that also excites me as well. But the first one takes place in London, so of course it's on my TBR. Next book on my TBR is Good Elf Gone Wrong. It's a holiday romantic comedy by Alina Jacobs. Actually, her second one just came out as well, but I am excited to dive into this one. So it says, when you catch your fiance cheating on you with your sister on Christmas Eve, the elf hat comes off. I've always been the good girl, the anti-Scrooge, the one who sacrifices for her guests, bakes cookies for her neighbors, and stays late after a party to clean up. I don't mind. I like being on the nice list. I kept smiling when I caught my fiance coming down my sister's chimney on Christmas Eve. I gave polite congratulations as they got engaged on Christmas morning. And I even offered to help decorate for their holiday wedding, despite the fact that that was supposed to be my dream wedding. But when my sister cuts up our great-grandmother's 100-year-old wedding dress and turns it into a skank show, even though that was the dress I was going to wear on my wedding day, well, this elf is torching down the North Pole. That just sounds so funny to me. I feel like that is just right up my alley. Again, during Christmas, we have a wedding, we have a scandal of being cheated on, and I get it. She said that her sister burnt her... I get it. She said that her sister tore up her great-grandmother's 100-year-old dress. Yeah, that's fighting worth. Like, I would not, that's like not even forgivable. I wouldn't even go to the wedding, but I do want to read about it. So I'm excited to get into this book. And then the last book on my TBR is Eating Her Christmas Cookies. Okay. Sounds pretty steamy if you ask me, by Alina Jacobs. So it's the same author from the last book. So I see that she's into writing Christmas novels, so I'm actually hoping that I do enjoy her because there's a lot of books that I can get through with her. So it says, you have Chloe, and she says, I love Christmas. I love sparkly window decorations, heartwarming holiday movies, and themed coffee. Most of all, I love Christmas baking. Even though his company is sponsoring the Bake Off show, billionaire Jack Frost claims he hates sweets. But after he tastes my goods, I know he'll come begging for more. And wouldn't you know, that night Jack Frost asked me to come up to his penthouse and give him a special taste of my Christmas cookies. Against my better judgment, I went. I baked him up my signature gingerbread cookies, and of course, he ate them up. Sounds like it's going to be a really fun read for Christmas. You have Christmas, you have a billionaire, you have cookies. What more do you need this Christmas holiday season? That sounds perfect to me. So I'm excited to get into this book. And it's, I guess the series is about the Frost brothers in general. So like I said, she has a lot of books. So I'm really hoping that I get into her and into her writing, because then I'll have plenty to read. And that is what is on my holiday Christmas TBR. I have a lot still to get through, and I have about a month. Actually, I have exactly a month until Christmas, so we'll see how many I can get through in all of this. I am someone, like, I started reading the beginning of November Christmas stories. Like I said, I've already read about 8, so I'm hoping that this month I can get about 8 to 10 books in as well. My plan is just to stay home with my pup and a good cup of coffee or tea and just keep reading. I will have review videos coming out soon over some of the books that I have already read and what I thought about them. I would love to know what you guys are excited to read this holiday season, or what you have already read and you recommend. I would love to know in the comments down below, so let me know. And if you guys like these videos of showcasing what's on my TBR, let me know. I definitely want to film one for going into the new year. And don't worry, I won't be mentioning like any motivational books. Not that I don't enjoy them, and not that I don't enjoy about hearing from other people, but I think I'm still going to be on a romance kick. I can feel that. So if you guys want to see what's going to be on my New Year TBR, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.